In today's decadent, overindulgent, unpassionate, unmotivated society, there are two attributes which are magnetic. Throughout history, they have been magnetic, but especially in society today, since they are increasingly vacant from most people in society. The first is passion. There are two types of ways to display your passion. The first is verbal. You see someone speaking, you see the fire in their eyes. You see their body language upwards. You see their hand gestures, their movements. Anytime I hear somebody speaking passionately, whether it's about politics, sports, business, cooking, movies, exercise, gardening, whatever it is, it's magnetic. I remember the other day I was at the park with a friend. I was talking about a boxing match that I watched, an old boxing match. I said, Lennox Lewis totally decapitated Evander Holyfield. He smashed the hell out of him. But then the judges, all of a sudden, they're like, it's a tie. And I was like, oh my God, how did they come to that conclusion? I remember there was a girl behind us and she kind of laughed. And I looked at her and I kind of laughed too. I said, you like boxing? She's like, no. She's like, just the way you told that story was so funny though. See that energy that I had, that passion, that enthusiasm for what I was watching. She wasn't used to that. She wasn't used to people genuinely being passionate about what they were talking about, even though she had no interest in the subject matter. It's the same for anybody else. The second is passionate movement. And what I mean by this is if you see somebody doing something that is difficult, you will respect the hell out of them. It might inspire you, or at the very least, you will respect them. I got two examples. The first is that there is a guy who, I don't know his name, I don't know his age, but I've talked to him a couple times, like short conversations. He's a nice guy, but I don't know him that well. He runs every single morning from one side of the town to the other. Up hills, in the rain, in the snow, in the sleet, no matter the weather, he's always running. I remember at work the other day, me and another coworker were talking about him. He mentioned that he respects that guy. He even joked around because this guy drinks a lot and smokes a lot. He even said, I would never, he said it kind of in his country accent, I would never run, but I respect the hell out of him. He's a tough son of a bitch. So even though he would never do those activities, he has respect for him. I also know another guy at work who said it inspired him. He said, if he can do it, I sure as hell can. Another example is that I go to the library about every 2 weeks. And when I go, I get a shit ton of books. I get about 6 or 7 every time I go. The reason I do that is because I try to read a book every 2 or 3 days. I could read a book a day, but I want to be able to comprehend it, to remember it, take notes on it, meditate on it, decipher it, dissect it. So in 2 weeks, I can typically finish 6 or 7 books, know what's in them, and comprehend them decently well. I remember I went to the library last time, and an older lady there was laughing about how many books I got, and she said, I got to start reading myself. My actions inspired her to want to do that. Another girl there kind of laughed, a younger girl, when she was checking me out of the library, scanning my books. She even laughed and said, I can only read like 1 book every 2 weeks. Man, that's crazy you can read that much. Even though she didn't want to partake in that activity, she respected that I was able to do that. The second attribute that is increasingly magnetic is greatness. We all subconsciously are attracted to greatness. Because when we see people that are great, whether it's Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, General Patton, Beethoven, it gives us the freedom to do the same. It makes us think, wow, if that person can accomplish all that, what does that say for us? When I was younger, I was always really into Peyton Manning, but I also respected Kobe Bryant. I never liked the Lakers, and I hated Kobe, not personally, but I didn't like Kobe that much because I was sick of him winning because he's so damn good, but I was attracted to him because he was great. It's magnetic. As I got older, I started to really be attracted to the generals, like Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, General Patton, Douglas MacArthur, also to great inventors like Willis Carrier, Henry Ford, Edison, Tesla. People are attracted to greatness. You don't have to be great already, but if you're striving towards greatness, if you talk about being great, your actions back up that you're working towards being great, and then you end up becoming great, that is magnetic to everybody. If somebody does not have a passion whatsoever, I don't give them the time of day. I'm gentlemanly, I'm polite, I'm friendly to them without necessarily being a friend, as the great Malcolm X used to say. But I don't have dinner with them. I don't indulge them. I don't speak to them often. I like people who are passionate. One of my friends is really passionate about music. I like music. I'm not super passionate, but I like it, especially older music. Me and him always talk about old bands, old music. He always tells me about what type of song he's working on his guitar, what type of riffs he's working on, the new guitar he got. Even though I'm not as into it as him, I like talking to him because he's passionate about his craft. My brother's really into movies. He's always talking about editing, his soundtrack, the actors he's getting. I like listening to him because he's passionate about it. Just like I'm passionate about business. I'm passionate about learning. I'm passionate about exercise. So the two attributes which really attract people, women, business partners, friendships, whoever, is passion, both spoken about and actions to back up your passion, and not only becoming great, but the strive towards greatness.